Hi, what's up? How are you? Uh, I hope well. I hope safe. I hope handling everything well. Happy new moon in Leo. Happy Leo season. It has already roared in, and I don't know. It's a doozy. It's a doozy. Yay, Leos. I have a favorite Leo out there in the universe. I'm sure you do too. But in light of this moon, there is a lot of saturation tonight in preparation for a lot of a lot of fire coming at us, which can still be so damp and so hot, if anything hotter because of the moisture. And we'll also be with the sun and Mercury, I believe. Yeah, fuck yeah. Which is like, it's not like wet wood, but it is like moisture and highly combustible, I would think. I think there's also a heaviness that's been about, which I don't know if I've actually talked about this here, but like a consolidation of timelines, and so that way kind of sort of going like from multiple printer paper sheets to like a thick cardboard, like all of those condensing, and not all of us understands the way our body or our minds or our hearts are reacting to that because of that. But Chiron is also in retrograde, and I feel like that, along with every other retrograde, both any planets in line with Saturn's retrograde and any planets in line with Neptune's retrograde, which I believe are specifically Mars and Jupiter, has a lot to do with new rules and new memories, or perhaps letting go of old memories, settings, ironically enough, systems of doing, which is very much just our thought processes as well. However, it may show up in more tangible terms. Leo season and those fire seasons often are about that kind of tangibility, palpability, if not tangible. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see what else. What else? There's a lot going on in this world of ours, and it's a trip. Chiron in Aries, more fire energy. I do find it interesting that there's like, I don't know, the only two asteroids in Libra. It's like, perhaps the palpability and the tangibility are very separate, and the tangibility is where we have to put focus into balance, whereas the palpability is what we focus on with extremism. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be in balance, but it often is. And that, I'm using my words wisely because it shows up in many ways. With that being said, let's pull cards, see what's up, and how we move forward in this moon. I will say, so like, moisture before the heat in moons like this can be quite difficult, and so the days before are often much about the preparation for that, and an opportunity for positivity where you see that weightiness being perhaps too much. Leo takes that on with no fear. No fear. Oh my. Beautiful. Okay. If you're here and you want to take some breaths with me, party on. Like we're sitting across from each other. This is actually a really good angle for that too. Like we have cards in between us here, off camera. Just make your spine straight and your hands available and pay attention to anything that comes up, or just breathe, my friend. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Okay. The separation between tangibility and palpability is much like anxiety existing and feeling it, but it doesn't necessarily make it the whole truth or the only truth at that given moment. Similar to things like vertigo, like it was very much like I could feel anxiety, but then there was a clarity that happened, almost like somebody like popped a balloon and everything was like more still after that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, there's an Eight of Pentacles here, and I feel like when we have a lot of fiery energy, patience is something that we ought to remember. For that patience and faith will surprise you. And I don't necessarily mean in anything other than yourself and perhaps your intention. Like, if you put in the fucking work, then just like let it go and know that it'll show. And that's sometimes like, again, having to do with Chiron and memory and Neptune and all of that, the ways that we remember things and the depths that we can take them. Doesn't always have to be upsetting waters. Because there's a Nine of Wands here, and that's very much like intense anxiety. And initially what I had felt when we were breathing, however, like I said, that feeling, like they say, like you sit with it, you validate it, you understand it, and then you understand that it is not all that is, or whatever happens. And I tell myself that when I get like weird and depressed or what have you. It's just like, hey, you know these things, you know how this feels. Dope, okay, cool. You also know this and this and this helps. Dope, cool. Hey, you also know that this does not last forever. Dope, cool. And it's like I say all the time, for every downhill turn there is an uphill swing. Those things exist simultaneously, or like within each other, like two sides of the same coin. That's just momentum. And I think that this Nine of Wands is reminding us that a lot of times that anxiety and that doubt and what have you is just here. Like it's just in half of you that has gone unhealed, or half of you that has gone unrecognized. But it is not the whole, and it is not the truth. And it is not all that there is. And when we understand it that way, we kind of can take our power back in having those kinds of thoughts. Rather than letting them drive us, we can drive or not drive with that. We can kind of kick it out of the motherfucking driver's seat, you know? That like emergency Batman fucking spring it out of the passenger seat kind of deal. I mean, we don't necessarily need to do that. We just need to like tell it to sit in the back for a minute. Or in general. I'm too nice to my demons, what can I say? No, I'm very great with my demons. I'm too nice to people sometimes. I always joke that I have less boundaries with the spirit world than I do the human world. The Hermit. What a great segue. The Hermit is the first card of this. Interesting. I mean, it's a 19, but it really is the motherfucking 20. I mean, not 19. 9. But it really is a motherfucking 10 because he's like elder cycle, like full knowledge, embodied knowledge, not the kind of knowledge that can teach, that is in itself a full cycle. The humbleness is where we take a step back from the 10 and exist in the 9. And that can mean a lot of things, you know. In lieu of Leo season, I think there is space to remember that there exists a middle realm, you know, somewhere in between where confidence can turn into ego and where humbleness can turn into insecurity. There exists a happy, beautiful place. And the Hermit doesn't run from those things. He understands those things. And so sometimes he lets those things just take their course, but knows that he exists in a constant upward momentum, because people will always be curious about this kind of entity. I think it again reiterates that patience with yourself. In lieu of all the heat and aspiration and the go and what love and healing and happiness should look like, then the Hermit doesn't necessarily have observers that he thinks of. Like, people observe, but that's not why he exists the way that he does, if that makes sense. And that's very much a Leo pride thing, and being proud of yourself, not being prideful, envious, egotistic, all of that. That can also exist in 9s, where it's, you know, falling short or a gap in between, but it doesn't necessarily have to exist as that. The King of Pentacles is the bottom of this, and I feel like the Hermit has what the King of Pentacles has, but it sort of weighs in the balance. It sort of swings in the balance. So maybe the Hermit understands, like I said, that dichotomy a little bit better than the King of Pentacles does. However, the King of Pentacles is the optimism of that. Maybe the Hermit's the realist and the King of Pentacles is the optimism. But I do think that's celebratory. Sort of like the marrying of an idea within yourself and the nurturing of that in the palm of your hand, which ultimately grows and creates sort of clarity and definition and all of these great sort of solidified, articulated things in a very abstract playground of self. I really hope that makes sense, because that sounds like so much fun. It sounds like so much opportunity, and I feel like it's not that these times will go without seriousness for its own sake of joy and pride and playfulness or what have you, but it is that remembering these things can keep us kind of looking upward, looking for the sun, I suppose. With my eyes ripped out and I'm looking at the fear, I keep my eyes fixed on the sun. Ironic, what a blast from the past, because that was actually a lyric that inspired one of my first tattoos. You see that thing that keeps happening with cycles and timelines? Funny. Okay. I think in times of great heat, when you account for the water energy, you get a lot more clear sight than you do fogginess or smog. And that, yeah, maybe not because it burns through, but because it's accounted for. We played with space, let's play with time. Ote. Again, like we are together chilling. Let's just take 3 deep breaths. These cards will supplement the last ones. If you've done this before with me, you know the drill. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. I feel like this Eight of Pentacles and whatever else comes out will also have to do with pressure. I mean, this Nine of Wands has to do with that too. And I mean, this King of Pentacles is all about like tangible weight too. Like just pressure. And again, remember the optimism and all the good things that I just said that I can't remember right now because I'm moving forward. In lieu of pressure. Because 100% my fucking joints hurt. That was tiring. That was tiring. And kind of painful. Three of Hearts on the bottom of the deck. And inverted. I love this card because it's all about, like, I don't want to just say creating your own reality, but it's all about like creating the kind of passion you would strive for. And what comes hand in hand with that is incredible amounts of self-doubt. And that can be what feels like sawing through our fucking brains. But ultimately, a Three of Hearts is like heart of hearts, what drives you. It's maybe even the like whole, the connecting blood flow between both, you know. It becomes the unifying point, which would in turn anatomically unify your brain and your gut. And you know, both sides of the tree of life. Kabbalah up and down. You know, every aspect of to and fro and as above, so below. Really. 10 of Diamonds, 5 of Hearts, 8 of Diamonds, Ace of Diamonds. Ooh, it just feels like saying goodbye to something. I mean, it sounds like chords to an end, you know? And you would end on an airy note, which would be the Ace of Diamonds. A wistful note, which could be longing, but it could also just be wistful and full of wonderment, and that will be what you make of it. Ooh, with this 5 of Hearts, I don't know, and in that longing. sometimes there are stories that we tell ourselves over and over and over again, like beating a dead horse. And I think everything serves its time. Everyone serves their time, has their place in your life, good or bad. Like they were brought there for some fucked up lesson sometimes, I don't know. But I mean, and even in loving, like, it doesn't have to last forever, but it was good when it was there. Like, nothing gold can stay, you know. All the most beautiful things grow and die and grow again. So understand that. And again, like I said, with things like depression, like, this will be over. This will come to pass. Like, for every upswing, everything has its time. And sometimes the best things and sometimes the worst things. They've served their time in that narrative, in this chapter. We don't have to carry all of that forward. Like, cool, maybe there's an illusion. Maybe there's, you know, some aspect of it that comes up again thematically. Whatever. But that's, again, where people get caught up in loving. Maybe it's not about the person, it is about the feeling. Maybe it's not about, like, this, but it is about this. It's not about the, like, little picture. It's not about just this person. It is about what they taught you about yourself. It's not about just this person. It is about how you learned to trust yourself, how you learned what your worth was, how you learned da-da-da-da-da. And even the best things, exactly that, serve their time. And becomes more about the big picture than it is the minuscule. More about the tunnels than it made than just the ant that made them, if that makes sense. I don't mean to sound like super nihilistic or anything, but like, what a peaceful way to be, that you don't have to hold on to everything that you've ever loved or hated. What a weighty way to exist if we had. And you know what? That's why people hold on to things, because it is one aspect in which that exists and which we can tangibly attach to. And that becomes heavy. That becomes ultimately not what's nourishing. Like, Homeboy is grilling, and it's like, if we had our favorite thing and we just wanted to keep cooking it and keep cooking it, like, we'd never be able to eat it, and it would burn, and it wouldn't be worth it. Like, it wouldn't be nourishing, it wouldn't be edible. Think of the best things like that, like, you know, absence makes the heart grow fond, or all of these things. We can't just keep it on flame. We have to let it sit too. And that's true of even, like, changing things, you know, find rest. Yes, there's a lot of time going, and like Leo's all about, like, go, let's do this, da-da-da-da-da. In context of fire and water, if we were to continuously boil water so as to, you know, separate it and shake it up and, you know, aim to heal and break up these old patterns, dope. But if we left it on that flame, eventually it would all burn through. So you need to do things sort of in cycles and sort of in waves, and that's true of just about everything. I don't know a single thing that does not exist in waves. Although, shit, maybe you do. Damn, that's like hella reiterating. Hella reiterating, but you know what? Life's great. And we all need to hear that once or twice. Or 3 motherfucking times. With that, no point in beating a dead horse, as I've already said in this. But yeah, party on. Happy Leo moon. Celebrate intensity and love, and sometimes it also means intense chill. Intense chill. And with that, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the moon while it's in Cancer, and take account for my water so I can be very prepared for this solar, Mercury, lunar wildness. Party on.